Welcome to TMZ Live. Denise Richards' estranged husband got an unwelcome surprise as he exited court on Friday. He was arrested.
Aaron Phypers arrested just outside court on Friday, and now, new this morning, he has been charged, facing 4 felony counts now related to this, and this is all over allegations that Denise Richards has made that he struck her during one of their arguments over the past summer. What she says happened, and now what he's been charged with, 2 counts, felony counts of injuring a spouse, and 2 counts of dissuading a witness.
So in other words, threatening a witness, those are the charges. Now, he has denied ever striking Denise, said she's a liar, and they have had this contentious fight in court. And not just family court, they have gone after each other in court to get restraining orders. That's why they were in court on Friday.
Right.
And he was there.
She had a temporary restraining order. They were in court. She wanted to make it permanent.
And there was testimony.
The testimony got very argumentative, but
and he left the court.
The big shock was when he walked outside of court and was
left the court
arrested.
and got hooked up by sheriff's deputies.
So we spoke to his attorney. His attorney basically said that he had no idea that these warrants were out for his arrest. And the attorney is saying they feel like Denise basically set him up. I don't know how that really makes sense, because he had to be in court for this restraining order hearing regardless, right? So I guess his insinuation is that they're only doing this to try to...
What he's kind of saying is that she got the restraining order.
Kind
It'd
of
be
a
a long
stretch.
play.
Yeah, that's a long
temporary restraining
because
order.
Because you go to court to make it permanent after 10 days.
So his bail was set at $200,000. He already bailed out over the weekend. But the big thing that he's arguing a lot with Denise is the fact that he has no money.
Well, the other thing is, the other thing about this case is there are photographs of injuries. Now,
that she submitted.
That she submitted. Now, she says they are injuries at his hands. And he is saying she had fallen down.
Yeah, so he has been very clear that he has never put his hands on her. And then when we asked him back, over the summer, what about these photos? He was insinuating that she got drunk and fell down at his office and hit her head on a light pole. And that's how she got the bruising.
So do we know whether the police department ever reached out to him before they made the arrest to see if they could get a statement from him? Because that's what is confusing to me. That, when you get pictures, it doesn't necessarily tell the story. So clearly she's talked to the police. Do you know if they reached out to him?
That we don't know, but we can probably find out.
I mean, that's what's odd about this.
That they would have at least gotten, through their investigation, that they would.
But he has spoken to police, because he filed his own police report against her. Remember, for damaging the phone?
Well, the other person
and stealing the phone or whatever?
And the other people they clearly have talked to, I would think, are people that the authorities say he intimidated. Witnesses.
Well, see, I don't know
if
Would that be
family members?
I don't know. Could be, maybe not. It could. You know what I'm thinking? Could it be her?
Is it her?
No, she's not. No, they wouldn't do that to her. Well, they could, but there are 2 people, they said. It's not just one. And so, was her mother there at some point?
So his parents lived at that house where they were taking care of all the animals.
But it wouldn't be that.
Because his mom has been testifying this weekend
on his behalf. Right. So it wouldn't be
that. Wouldn't make sense for him to intimidate his own mom, who's had his back throughout.
Right.
This.
So it's
and the mom actually claimed in court this week that she actually witnessed Denise throw a can opener at Aaron. So, which. That's the opposite way of domestic abuse, but
we got to find out who these witnesses are.
This divorce has just gotten supercharged.
Hi, my name is Zach Ross, calling from Huntington Beach, California, and I mean the looks, those bruises on her eyes are pretty crazy. I mean, I know you always hear the story about maybe someone falling and hitting their eye, but I just don't know. I feel like if someone fell and hurt themselves, there'd be more bruising rather than just directly on their eye. But I mean, that seems like a pretty serious situation.
Yeah.
Oh, he's in trouble. I mean, this is years in prison if convicted. Yeah.
Well, Lori Loughlin has a very good friend in John Stamos who is speaking up for her, even though she hasn't said much about her split from Massimo Giannulli. They're getting divorced. But John Stamos says this is all Massimo's fault. And it's very clear he has not liked Massimo for a long, long time.
Oh,
and
he made that so clear.
It is all spilling out, and he is blaming Massimo not only for the split, but for the college admissions scandal, saying that Lori was as much a victim in this as anyone else. This is what he said on the Good Guys podcast. He lays it all out.
You can see through people after a few years. Like, this woman's a saint. Like, she has never, it's just hard to see her going through. I'm just heartbroken for her right now. I'm not going to debate whether she had much to do with it or not. I know she didn't. I mean, he dragged her through that. Maybe she saw something, I don't know. And then I think right around that time, they busted in and got Massimo out of their guns and stuff. She goes to prison for 3 months, right? And he goes for whatever. The honest to God truth, I pray for this guy. I pray that he gets a hold of his whatever hole that he's trying to fill, however he's trying to fill it. I pray that he realizes that what he had was everything that anyone could ever hope for, and that he gets some help. He's a very successful dude. I will never talk to him again. He's a terrible narcissist, and I don't think you ever get out of that. So,
I mean, that is unvarnished. I got to say something. Right when it broke, I spoke to somebody.
Which broke?
A college admissions scandal.
Right.
I spoke to somebody connected to Lori. And, obviously this could be their line and it may or may not be true, but I was told exactly that she just had no idea that he ran the show, and it kind of makes sense from other things I've been hearing, that he may have been the one that was driving this with Rick Singer, this college admissions guy, and that, it doesn't mean that both spouses are in on it, not just in her case, but other cases too.
Right.
Because remember,
if you have a joint account, suddenly your name's on it.
Remember, with Felicity Huffman, William H. Macy was not charged.
Right.
So they did kind of assign blame there. In this case, it was both of them. But I heard one other thing, and we know this, and this is people with direct knowledge told us, that when they got married in 1997, he said, I'm not doing it unless you sign this prenup, which kept all of her property separate and his property separate. Mm-hmm. So if that didn't change, she's going to walk away with nothing. And he had over $100 million.
She walks away with nothing from their combined wealth. She gets whatever she earned
made,
while they were together. But clearly his company being what it is,
massive.
That's the larger portion of their estate.
And unless they change the prenup, she's not going to get any of that. And the other thing too is that when you listen to John Stamos, he was saying, I'm sorry she's going through that, present tense.
Right.
When he was talking about the college admissions thing. So it sounds like it's still something that's haunting
it almost
her.
sounds like he knows that was the beginning of the unraveling of their marriage. And
it can't help a career when somebody goes to prison for that.
And he says pretty clearly that Massimo broke something in her. Like, he lays it out and says she's like a different person, she's heartbroken, and because otherwise he says she's a saint. And I was thinking, there's only so much oblivious excuse that you can do, right? Shouldn't she have been a little responsible?
Have some knowledge of what's happening in your house?
In life in general? Yeah, exactly. And by the way, there's also hope for a fantasy that many people have had with John Stamos, Uncle Jesse and Aunt Becky, because they ask him.
Hope he's married.
Now that she's
they were talking about three-ways.
Now that she's single, would you consider bringing her into the fold with the wife?
Right.
He says he would not leave the wife for her, but when it came to bringing him into a three-way, he said, I'm not Mormon.
I'm not Mormon.
Well, that sounds like a no. It's not going to happen.
there, Charles Parlow coming from New York, and all I'm going to say is good for Lori Loughlin, and screw the $100 million with the prenup. She has her own money. She's one of the biggest actresses on Hallmark. She's got her own cash coming in. But I think John Stamos is really the most truthful person right here. John Stamos doesn't really put his, eyes and, mouth into the pop culture world, and he's seeing a marriage here which was clearly abusive. She likely went to jail for this person to get him, off the sentence. And at the end of the day, if she's going to lose tens of millions of dollars, she's still just going to make all her own money back. And it's a lot better just keep your damn dignity. So good for Lori Loughlin, good for John Stamos, bad for the ex.
Coming up.
Without a doubt, the most disgusting reaction to the No Kings protests over the weekend goes to none other than the president himself. President Trump decided to mark the occasion with this video.
Be right back.
Without a doubt, the most disgusting reaction to the No Kings protests over the weekend goes to none other than the president himself. Because President Trump saw all of the millions of people around the country doing something.
7 million.
Exactly, that's millions. Millions of people who he declared were un-American, and decided to mark the occasion with this video. And it is if you haven't seen this, it's gross. And obviously he thinks it's funny.
Unbelievable.
It's just the idea of, yes, obviously there's nothing real about it, but just the idea that it is humorous to the president, the elected president of the United States, humorous to drop feces on citizens.
I got to tell you,
who are just protesting, by the way, which is the most American thing. And I don't care how many people want to say it's un-American. They don't understand how this country was founded then.
No,
because it is very American.
And the supreme irony to it is that the American Revolution was based on a group of people who didn't want a king, and that's why we have a democracy. So whether you believe he is a king or not a king or wants to be one, the idea that you would call people protesting that un-American is actually un-American to protest that. And the other thing I just want to say is, I was with him on the Middle East. I thought he did a really good job. And I thought, and I was arguing with people who really dislike him. And I said, look, you can dislike a lot of the things he does, but you got to give him his due.
This is the kind of thing. But this is what they point to. Is that it's hard to, yes, while you can see what happened in the Middle East as a clear good, it's hard for some people to pat him on the back when they know that this is the kind of thing he thinks is humorous.
Yeah, what I honestly found most odd about it is not only that it's a distinctly American thing that he's crapping all over, figuratively and literally in this video, protesting, but he's also leaning into the king. He's wearing a crown.
That part
in
I
this
don't buy.
jet.
That's the troll.
Yeah,
I know it's trolling, but
that was the troll.
It's called a No Kings protest, and he is presiding over a healthy economy and solving the war in Gaza. And he's saying this is actually what kings do.
But
they
that was
do
the
good
troll.
things.
That was the troll. It's just, I have a bigger problem with calling people un-American. Is the civil rights movement un-American? Was protesting the Vietnam War un-American?
Yeah.
It's like,
don't ask questions you don't want the answer to.
Well, no. But during the Vietnam War, Richard Nixon, the slogan was "America, love it or leave it." That's what he would say to the Vietnam War protesters. So it's nothing new, but this one is on the nose. We don't want kings. That's why we have a revolution. That's why we had one.
But he thinks he speaks on behalf of the silent majority, which Nixon thought as well. He thought this is a few rabble-rousers. To Donald Trump, he thinks this is 7 million rabble-rousers around the country. They're wrong, and I speak for the majority.
Well, Nixon was wrong. We will see here.
We'll see.
Hey guys, I'm Joy Daly from New York City, and I think a lot of Americans share Pedro Pascal's sentiment towards President Trump, and I am so happy that he had that sign with the drag queen on it saying, "No kings, just queens," because we are supporting our freedom as Americans. We're supporting the LGBTQ community, and we will not let President Trump lead us into a dictatorship. So everyone has to take a stand.
Well, yes, as you said, Pedro Pascal was at the No Kings rally here in LA. Yep. By the way, the other thing that video did is it really incensed Kenny Loggins.
Oh, yeah.
Who
He's
wants to
pissed
go
off.
after the administration
Danger
for
zone.
use of danger zone.
That's not going to fly, so to speak.
I want you to think about what happened at the Louvre in Paris in this sense. In the time we're going to do this segment, just about twice this amount of time is how long it took them to break into the Louvre in broad daylight and make off
with thousands of people inside.
Thousands of people walking around inside, outside, and these thieves pulled off what before we would have said was impossible.
This in my lifetime, it's the boldest thing I can remember.
And there was nothing like high tech about it. This was not an Ocean's 11 type of
It was a
break-in.
smash and grab. It was like going
Literally
to
a smash and
CVS, except they got the Queen's jewels.
Yeah, and made off with jewels that date back to these are
Napoleon
literally
III's wife.
France's crown jewels.
For crown jewels, smashing the protective glass, and the alarm went off. But all they did was call the police, and by the time they got here, these guys dressed as construction workers were gone.
It's brilliant. They're dressed as construction workers. They go up in one of these basket lifts to the second floor. They look like anybody trying to repair anything in the streets of Paris. And they break in through some sort of saw, right? A grinding saw.
Yeah,
they get in through the window.
Break through the glass.
And they go into the museum, and they just start breaking glass and grabbing. But they knew what they were doing. They got the most expensive, like the oldest jewels
they
they
knew
had.
exactly.
Clearly had targeted that these were the items they're going after.
There are reports that they were working with somebody who knew all this stuff.
There has to be some
but here's
sort
the
of
thing.
inside job.
I saw a report this morning that they were going to that they probably were going to melt it down. I don't believe that, because you melt it down, it's just a slab of gold.
It's hard defense.
But no, I don't think it is.
Yeah.
I read a whole thing on like Picasso's and all where they stole them, and there's still a black market where they can do this stuff.
Yeah.
And if they do it with art like Picasso's, why can't they do it with jewels?
I will say, though, the Empress, the wife of Napoleon III, her crown that they took, but they accidentally dropped as they were heading out.
Queen Eugenie.
Queen Eugenie, right.
Yes.
That had 1,400 diamonds in it. Now, they're not all the highest quality, but that 1,400 diamonds, 1,400 diamonds. There's a lot of value by picking them apart. It's easier to sell that way.
You're not going to wear it out to a party.
Well, but that's just it. So where's the value?
Well, the value is you put it at home, just like a
You don't
Picasso.
know what he might wear.
Just like a Picasso.
Oh, I want my friends to come over and see the Picasso.
Well, you can bring your friends over
This
as
is-
long
No,
as
you
they're
can't bring your
criminals.
friends over.
Yeah,
right.
Or, what a great Halloween costume.
Coming up.
Eli Roth lives rent-free in my head. Some of the movies he has put out over the years that are always very popular around Halloween. He has a new one. I just watched the trailer.
It's so scary.
This is just a little bit of Dream Eater, and then Eli is going to be with us to talk about this. I'm horrified.
Be right back.
TMZ's got every freaking thing. Big celebs, big stories, big events.
BB Rexa was looking hot on vacation.
Look at the water, too. Did you just say, look at the water?
I mean, I'll be honest, that is what I was looking at. It is that time of year where I have to admit that Eli Roth lives rent-free in my head. Because some of the movies he has put out over the years that are always very popular around Halloween always pop up, and I have nightmares. And even though sometimes that's just from seeing the trailer, he has a new one that is out.
By the way,
that blows everything else out of the water. I just watched the trailer.
It's so scary.
And
it is so scary.
This is just a little bit of Dream Eater, and then Eli is going to be with us to talk about this. I'm horrified.
You said some time away might be good for you.
We're supposed to record any sleepwalking and what you remember from each episode.
Front door open.
Alex?
Come back to bed.
While people do sleepwalk, rarely do they lash out violently.
He's here. He's here.
There are other people seeing this thing in their dreams night after night.
You need to get out of that house. That wasn't Alex.
Alex, this isn't you.
Okay. So, by the way,
Okay,
by the
man,
way,
that's-
the name of his production company kind of says it all. It's called the Horror Section, which is perfect. So, without further ado, so honored. He's been such a friend of ours over the years. Eli, welcome back to TMZ Live.
It's great to be here. Thank you, Harvey. Always a pleasure.
So I've had like nightmares in the last couple of weeks, and I don't know whether it's Halloween or not, but what I love about the movie is that you do dream about things that are kind of out of this world, sometimes even violent, and that is the premise of this, with a boyfriend and a girlfriend, and all of a sudden...
Well, the whole sleepwalking thing is like,
Yeah.
that
Sleepwalking,
happens. That's when I watch the trailer, I go like, this could happen. I hate...
Oh, it's true. The directors, it's a trio of directors. They're from Canada. They made this movie for $40,000. So anytime I hear that, I'm curious to see it. And they did it. The holy grail of horror movies is when you make a movie that's just so freaking scary. And I really think the last 15 or 20 minutes of this movie is the scariest thing I've seen this year. So I talked to them, and it's about this girl is documenting her boyfriend's sleepwalking, and it's getting more and more violent and worse and worse. And this is what they do when you have a sleepwalker, because one of the directors really had this condition, and they were told someone has to videotape you and film you, every time you do it so that we can analyze it. So they go to this cabin, and of course, every time they go to sleep, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And you hear like, front door open, and then he's like out what these guys did, the directors also act in it. And the reason they did it was because every actor read the script and go, you can't actually expect me to do this. And the directors were like, well, screw it. We'll just do it ourselves. Because no one's really, and you watch it and you're just like, like naked in minus 20 degrees snow. It's like, it's beyond belief. So it's one of those movies that's kind of a slow burn, but it does win you over. And look, we're releasing it. We're doing a small release in like 250 or 300 cinemas. But look, if everybody watching this buys 10 tickets, then we'll outgrow Titanic, which is a victory for horror. So buy your tickets now. But it's nice to discover a movie like Paranormal Activity or Blair Witch Project where you're like, I don't know anything about this. I don't know these filmmakers. I'm just going to go in and give it a shot. And it's a movie that by the end, you're like, yeah, that is, I think, the scariest movie of 2025. It's amazing.
And you mentioned they did it for $40,000, which
9 days.
Just so people know, outside of Hollywood, that's unheard of.
They shot for like 9 days, right?
Yeah, in 9 days in the snow. And they're an amazing trio. They're called Blind Luck Pictures. They're the nicest people out of Canada. And they went, and I don't know, I watched it. I was like, did you guys do this for $1 million, $1.5 million? Like, no, we did it for 40 grand. I mean, the sound is, but they spent 9 months. They shot it 9 days, but then they spent almost a year doing the sound, the music, editing it to perfection. It's so well crafted and well done that I just want to make a bunch of movies with these guys. It's a treat for horror lovers. If you love discovering a great, just full-on scary, like you're watching it through the cracks of your fingers, Dream Eater is that movie.
So you could change everything in Hollywood, turn it on its head, because you look at some of the other movies that have been made that are, $100 million movies. If this does really well, then Blair Witch wasn't a one-off, and it's almost like this is a model that just kind of resonates, and all of a sudden, all of these big budget movies, I don't know, it's like, why are we wasting that kind of money?
Well, it's true. I mean, look, Harvey, you and I secretly always want to be models and new models. So I think that, no, look, obviously the studios are losing so much money, but it's very hard to cut through and to get people to go, okay, why am I going to leave my house and pay, 10, 15, 20 bucks a ticket sometimes? Well, the truth is you can pirate a movie, but you can't pirate that adrenaline rush. Like us horror fans, we're adrenaline junkies. And it's like going to Coachella or Burning Man. You have to be there live, and you're never going to get that fix, that same heart racing up to, we put heart rate monitors on people as a test. It, went up to 180, like 170, 180. You're never going to get that adrenaline rush unless you see it in a theater.
So you killed people in the movie theater.
Yeah, the best thing that could happen is the highest compliment people could say is, I couldn't watch your movie. I watched it through the cracks of my fingers. And if someone has a heart attack, that is like the holy grail.
We're not hoping for that, but I get your point. I get your point. So we got to talk about something that the movie's opening on Friday, right?
Yes, the movie is opening on Friday, and as a special treat, I will be doing the TMZ. I will be a tour bus guide. Now you can add to executive producer, cast member of Euphoria season 3, and tour guide on TMZ After Dark, which is also a secret dream of mine.
High honor.
To be a tour guide.
High honor. This is going to be so awesome. By the way, the bus is already sold out. We're putting another bus in.
Yeah, we added a second bus.
We added a second bus.
Yeah, and I will hop onto the second bus.
For the trailer.
Yeah, no, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be a really, really fun party. I'm gonna tell all kinds of crazy stories. I don't know, maybe half of them will be true, but they'll be fun regardless. I will hop to the other bus, and I think afterwards we're all gonna go to Slasher World on Melrose. So it's gonna be a really, really, really great.
I mean, this is amazing. And by the way, it's Friday night at 7:30, leaving at the Hard Rock. And that's when your movie opens. It's so exciting.
So much to look forward to.
We're so excited about everything. We're excited about your movie. We're so excited you're doing TMZ After Dark, Eli. You're the best. You are, and I mean those words. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, you're the best." I mean, you're the best. I really mean that.
I thank you. I might be the best TMZ guest. I don't know what I'm the best at, but I like. Do you know what the thing is? I love what I do, and I love having fun and having a sense of humor about myself. And you're the same way, so I think we really see things similar. It's always a pleasure, and thank you. And again, it's very simple. Every person watching this, if you all buy 1,000 tickets to see Dream Eater, it will make $6 billion, and then it'll
Changes
just be Dream
everything.
Eater sequels from now on. That's all that will be in the cinemas. So I think it's a great idea. Let's all go do that.
Well, Dream Eater is out on this Friday, the 24th, and we will see you the TMZ After Dark tour, Eli. Thanks so much.
See you on the tour, guys. Thanks so much.
Eli.
Bye-bye.
Coming up.
George, you said you were completely surprised by this commutation.
Yes, it was an absolute surprise to me and my family. We were not given a heads up. I learned through the chyron of MSNBC when other inmates saw it, and I walked out and had no clue.
Be right back.
Welcome back to TMZ Live. George Santos would not have 5 days ago thought that he would be at home this morning. But he is, after President Trump commuted his sentence. The former congressman, was sentenced to more than 7 years in a federal prison for wire fraud and identity theft
And lying to
crimes.
Congress.
Right. On Friday, the president surprised everyone, and from what I've heard, even George Santos himself was surprised to hear that the president had commuted his sentence. So he is out now, a free man, and is joining us, not from prison. George Santos, welcome to TMZ Live.
How are you guys? Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it. I got to say, I've got a million questions, but the first one I have is something that I heard you say, which is you are a changed man. So you were only in for a couple of months. Was it this experience generally of being prosecuted, thrown out of Congress, imprisoned, or was it the prison itself that changed you? What did you mean by that?
Harvey, that's a great question. So when you're going through prison and through the process, you're angry throughout the process. When you get to prison, it's sobering. But what really did it for me was being in solitary confinement in the special housing unit of FCI Ferreton for 41 days. That broke me. Most importantly, it was the mental health aspect of it. I learned that the hate, that the poison that hate is, wrecked me, wrecked my whole life. Lying, being duplicitous, disingenuous, obfuscating, none of that is worth it. It's like, what was I doing? I look back at past statements and I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed that I allowed myself to be so consumed with hate that I put myself in this position. So now it's about purpose. I found a purpose, and that purpose is helping troubled youth, helping prison reform so people can actually be rehabilitated.
George, I've heard you say that you felt like that 41 days that you spent in solitary was completely unwarranted, and that you were placed there out of some revenge by the warden. Why do you feel like the warden had it out for you?
I was documenting my prison journey, and that was what it was supposed to be. But I started finding so many irregularities, from black mold to expired food to money being misappropriated and taken away from prisoners' rehabilitation process. And while the warden is buying 85-inch, multiple thousands of dollar TVs for her private office. So I started writing about it. And that created a lot of pressure points within the prison, to the point where some of the senior staff there would tell other inmates hey, you should talk to Santos, tell him to stop writing. This isn't good for us. You can probably try to navigate this better than we can with him. And that only angered me more that now they're not just derelict in duty, they're silencing me. So an opportunity arose when an old death threat that was investigated back in 23, like the countless others, hundreds of death threats that I had, the Capitol Police had investigated this unfounded, uncorroborated threat that there was a conspiracy with powerful elite politicals and socialites that wanted to kill me, but they never actually did because it was fake. But now all of a sudden they were going to break into prison to kill me. I've heard of breaking out of prison, guys, but breaking into prison, I find it to be very hard to believe. So when that was presented, I told them this has been dismissed before, investigated, it's not credible. They said, no, this is credible. It took the FBI from August 28th to September 23rd to investigate it and dismiss it, but the warden still kept me an additional 15 days for her internal review, which she prolonged it because she can.
So they were saying this was for your protection that they were putting you in there.
They called it protective custody, although protective custody in the eyes of FCI Ferreton's warden is the same as disciplinary custody. So I was denied contact with my family, one phone call every 30 days for 15 minutes, one visit every 30 days in shackles, meaning my belly, my chain around my belly with handcuffs and my feet cuffed behind plexiglass like I'm Jack the Ripper or whatever fictional you can imagine, Hannibal Lecter, murderer. And then to add insult to injury, I was denied medicine. I was denied my inhaler for 24 hours by the same warden whose entire staff, including medical, failed.
George, you said you were completely surprised by this commutation. Who, as late as August, the president was asked about the possibility of pardoning you, and he said he had not heard anything about it, hadn't come to his attention. So someone between August and now clearly went to him and made this suggestion. Do you have any idea who was your advocate?
It took a village. It's a lot of people, friends, activists, supporters of mine.
Any current members of Congress?
It would seem Marjorie Taylor Greene played a part in this.
Not just Marjorie. Look, Marjorie was phenomenal to my family. My husband loves Marjorie Taylor Greene for her guidance, her counsel, and her mental health support she gave him as a human being. I know everybody wants to jump into rhetoric to go create, but it wasn't just Marjorie. Marjorie did her part. You had Lauren Boebert, you had Tim Burchett, Anna Paulina, you had Ed Martin, Alice Johnson, Rick Grinnell, Matt Gaetz. You had so many other people, countless other people who are literally not in public office. So it wasn't one person, but yes, it was an absolute surprise to me and my family. We were not given a heads up. I learned through the chyron of MSNBC when other inmates saw it, and I walked out and had no clue, called my husband.
Boy, you're lucky that Donald Trump didn't know that, because you should have been watching Fox.
Why weren't you watching Fox?
Yeah, no.
I'll
that
say
was
this.
Dicey, George.
Well, I'll say this. I wasn't watching the TV. Other inmates were watching.
Someone showed it to you.
So they called me.
No, that works. That works.
They called me. They called me into the cafeteria, and the TV was on MSNBC, and the chyron said something along the lines of disgraced former New York Republican George Santos being commuted. Trump set to have him released immediately. I thought it was a joke.
Did they applaud? Did they applaud?
I know people think there's jealousy in that. No. Every single person in there was happy for me, because they are happy for every time someone goes home, because they look at that, they're next. Their day is coming up, and they were all very happy for me and congratulatory. Again, look, we all have different walks of lives and we all have transgressions, but I got to say this. I can't turn back and say I had a bad experience with the inmates at the camp at FCI Ferreton. I mean, people have differences of opinions, but overall, we're all human beings, and we're just trying to, do what we had to do.
Yeah, you were. I was going to say, you were very concerned before you went in about violence, and that you were going to be harmed, that you would be attacked, assaulted in some way, and you made the whole point of saying, I'm not suicidal in case something happens to me. Was there ever a moment when you were in prison where you did fear something was going to happen to you?
I feared for my mental health. I crumbled under isolation. Decades of hard work came rapidly crumbling down. Being denied my prescribed Vyvanse that I've been on for many, many years for my ADD, back pain medication due to some discs that I have that are herniated, all denied by the medical facility at FCI Ferriton, coupled with the isolation, really did a number on me. I feared for my mental health and stability while I was in the SHU for sure.
Well, look, we appreciate you coming on. Welcome back to society.
Harvey, guys, thank you so much. Look, I know people hear TMZ and they're terrified, and I know you guys you have always been fair to me. So anytime I can, you guys got Jacob there who really put on the pressure. And I said, okay, I'll make 10 minutes, and here I am. So thank you, guys.
We appreciate it, George.
Thanks, George.
Thanks.
Coming up.
Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard are celebrating their 12th anniversary, but I can't say that I've ever seen an anniversary marked the way that Kristen decided to mark their anniversary.
Or that Dax said this.
Be right back.
Kristen Bell and Dax Shepard are celebrating their 12th anniversary, but I can't say that I've ever seen an anniversary marked the way that Kristen decided to mark their anniversary.
Or that Dax said this.
Yeah, I guess the saying it out loud part is the...
It's really funny.
But this is the post that Kristen put up. A beautiful photo of them embracing. But when you zoom in on that caption, she says, "Happy 12th wedding anniversary to the man who once said to me, quote, I would never kill you. A lot of men have killed their wives at a certain point. Even though I'm heavily incentivized to kill you, I never would."
So the funniest part about this to me, is Dateline liked it.
Yes, Dateline saw this and they commented, screenshot it.
Hysterical.
It's hysterical for them, but a lot of people online are so upset about this.
Oh, God.
Turns out it's Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Okay.
So when you put that with this, it doesn't really mesh.
They're just a joke.
Oh, some of the comments are saying that this could be really triggering to people. People are saying, how can she stay with a man who jokes like that?
Oh.
Other people are saying this is weird. By the way, they have two daughters together as well. So people are like, what kind of message is this for your daughters?
God, relax.
I mean, they don't know the full context of that conversation and that clearly she felt
joke.
Yes, Rich Lux, Houston, Texas. She should have kept that post in the drafts, honey. It was not needed. And the photo of Kristen Bell and the warm embrace of her husband, it looked so performative and kind of creepy. For her to publicly display that act of affection like that during this time, I think that relationship is in the rocks.
I think they're fine. You? Anything?
What?
Okay.
I thought he was saying Christian Bale. I was like, what? How would a Christian Bale?
La-di-da-da-da. Every weekend we put polls up on the website to find out how you feel about things that happened last week. We did it this week. Here are the results.
All right. K-Feds tell all about Britney. His truth, his story, or sleazy money grab? Oh, boy.
Yeah, I know what they're going for here. Yeah, I thought it was going to be actually more lopsided. Next, Taylor Swift marketing new album. Good on her. She's the master. Or, this is recent, greedy. Doesn't she have enough? I'm going to be really interested.
The negative is they're going to go for the negative.
I don't know.
Typically.
There are a lot of
but
Swifties.
If the Swifties.
God, even that, they're still the solid majority. How about that?
Holding strong. Real Housewives, Wendy and Eddie Acefo arrests. Kick them off the show or build next season around them. People want to build the season.
Absolutely.
You never kick someone off.
Oh, my God.
What?
I'm shocked at that.
Okay, that's
a travesty. It's an outrage.
I don't want to.
Trump's Time magazine cover, disrespectful or I love it. It'll be 63, 30 something.
Yeah, can it be both, by the way? Again, flawed poll.
No. Yeah, it's just.
It's also disrespectful, and that's why they love it. That's why it's a flawed poll.
No.
Yeah.
I like it. Anyway.
Ellen Greenberg's death. Suicide or murder?
They've got to say murder by a lot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why is it even? Should be higher
That
than
case
that.
is such a travesty. Last one. OpenAI removing MLK videos. The right thing to do or ridiculous? It's just parody.
I don't know. Well, decency by a slim margin.
By slim margin.
Coming up.
Well, TMZ After Dark tour had a little romance, had a little flavor of romance this week.
Romance.
Because we had The Bachelor.
With a rose, by the way.
Grant Ellis was hosting on Saturday night. Yes, he came with a rose, and by the way,
he gave one away.
Be right back.
Well, TMZ After Dark tour had a little romance, had a little flavor of romance this week.
Romance.
Because we had The Bachelor.
With a rose, by the way.
Grant Ellis was hosting on Saturday night. Yes, he came with a rose, and by the way,
he gave one away. He gave it away.
When The Bachelor's available, you better get on the bus.
This was awesome. So it's the After Dark tour was fueled by Monster Energy. They had so much fun. He drank a Monster and he was lit.
Oh my God, he was so lit. Like, he gave us all his energy. He was dancing. He was doing dance off with the passengers. He was taking shots at each bar. He even rode the bull at the Saddle Ranch. And
Wait,
shout out to Saddle Ranch, best bar. He did good. I was hoping he would fall because that would be funny.
He didn't fall off?
stayed on.
He stayed on? See,
He
they
was
do
really
that.
tall, so I was surprised that he stayed on because when you're tall, you kind of, everything's harder.
Come on, the guy who's controlling it went easy on him.
No, I feel like I told the guy go hard on him so he falls.
So, by the way, the shots are free. This is the best bargain in town, and it is such a party.
I mean,
it is so much fun. So, we talked about this earlier, but Friday night, Eli
This coming
Roth
Friday, yeah.
is.
Oh my!
I mean,
We're
this
gonna have
is
Eli
just going to be
Roth doing
unbelievable.
this.
We're adding a bus, and then Sunday is the brunch bus.
I
It's
mean,
amazing.
Friday especially, this is going to be the biggest event in TMZ tour history. I truly believe so. And we're going to go to this place called the Slasher House, and we're going to have a giant Halloween party with just like 2 buses. And it's like
I'm out before the Slasher
Oh no,
House.
this
I'll
is
do the rest of it.
This
but
is
Charles,
going
that's
to be.
lame.
This is going to be epic. Go to monsterenergy.com, by the way, if you want to see.
You want to get more?
What they got going, but I got to tell you, go to tmztour.com. And you will see what we got to offer because this weekend is going to be amazing.
Coming up.
So I know there's a lot of single guys out there wondering, what do you do to score someone like Dua Lipa? How do you reel her in? Well, Callum Turner revealed his secret.
Be right back.
So I know there's a lot of single guys out there wondering, what do you do to score someone like Dua Lipa? How do you reel her in? Well, Callum Turner revealed his secret. A book and a pretty clever line. He said that they met at a party in Hollywood and they were talking about their interests, similar interests, and she said she was reading a book. He said, oh, I'm reading a book also. Which one are you reading? She said the book is called Trust. He goes, oh my God, I'm reading the same book. And then they started talking about the book, and she said that she had just finished, I forget which chapter it was, but she finished, maybe it was just the first chapter. It was the first chapter. And he said, oh my God, I finished the first chapter also. And then he said, I guess we're on the same page.
Oh, what a line. The exact same thing happened with Bill Belichick and Jordan Hudson. They met on an airplane talking about his book.
Yeah.
Books are the new romance. We'll see you tomorrow.